Performance specialist Tefo Paya right here on the Lounge Convo Special Edition. And we're talking theater, popularly known as a drama in Botswana, because when you go to school, as early as primary, you get to be introduced to a drama. Some take it up, some just like viewing. And over time, those who probably were just viewers get to be the ones in the business of theater, or those who were in the process of just performing and everything get to be the ones in the process. But yes, it's something that we get introduced to at a very early age in our life, and it's a profession. And you're here because, you know, I want us to take a look at just, let's say, theater in the sense of having a drama group. Most of the people we see in Botswana, Babamo, TV or film, started off through just drama groups, drama at school and everything, and they made that transition onto film or TV, you know, because film and TV kind of different in a way, but still the same thing is on screen. And you get to deal with people who go through that journey of being in theater and at one point get to go to be on film and TV. Now, let's start it off this way. When we say you have a successful drama group, it could be in many variations. The variation that I want to look at is success in terms of having a group that actually gets to create plays. Let's look at success in that sense. What does it take for one to have that, to have a group that actually creates plays and actually does tours?
One of the things, I was very fortunate. So we did drama as a subject. It was one of the first schools, IGCSE. So I still, just like the drama groups started, difference is we had it in class. So as professional drama teachers. So already the foundation showed us that for drama to happen, for theater to happen, it's a collective. Mm-hmm. You've got your director, you've got your writers, your designers, your stage managers, your performers. There's all these different elements that are there. Right. So once you understand that it's a community of creatives coming together to then create something, that's the foundation first and foremost. And you got to come together with a common goal. And usually it is, okay, we got to create a play. Competition, you know, theme you do, compete. Then later on it became, no, we're trying to teach. The reason it became big Botswana when I did my research, and I only encountered it outside of Botswana. Yeah. So I started hearing about drama and education, the theater for development. And I'm like, one of the places where it actually started in Botswana. But specifically around HIV and AIDS. That was a big thing that was used around that.
It's easy to go to a community, do a play. What are those tours called? Yeah, they do at some mall, at some village, they do that, and it's easy for people to capture and understand. Okay.
Exactly, and we're big on song and dance already. Do you get what I mean? And Dipulelo and all of that. So when you use that, you bring in the right songs and dance, community is drawn to you, and then you're able to disseminate information and messaging, and also becomes like an activation. Everyone gathers and comes together. So when I realized that, I was like, wait a minute. But I was lucky that I started it with a proper structure. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it starts off firstly with community. Understand that you got to come together and you all have a role to play.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? That's the next thing that you realize. Okay, what's your role? And be clear about your roles. And then from there, you got to understand what does your role require? Because every role has a responsibility.
Yes.
If I'm an actor, I got to know what's my responsibility. And I think that's sometimes where a lot of people drop the ball.
Yes.
Mutui pizza director. Me what on the managerial group. And then on top of that, it's a me lacking the knowledge.
Yes.
You know, so they just know an aspect of it, power, control. My story.
And they end up frustrating the talent.
Thank you.
And everybody within that community.
You get what I mean? And then actors who come with, Nake star.
All right.
I'm the lead.
In conversation with performance specialist Tefo Paya, we do continue this conversation right here on Gabs FM. Do keep it locked. It is Gabs FM, power to engage your world. This is the Lounge Convo Special Edition, taking a look at theater out here in Botswana. A space that has contributed to the film and TV space. Actually, it's one and the same if you look at it. Just like when you see in other countries, you get to see your favorite actors actually do plays. Some actually never been on theater, so they don't do plays. But some who have had the theater background, you see that they actually do still get to do a lot of plays. And we are in conversation with a performance specialist, Tefo Paya, who was just taking us through when we talk successful group. And success in this way, I put it in a way of a group that's actually able to function in terms of creating plays and actually going on tour. And you just before going for the break, you're touching on the fact when now guys, I'll be the director, and then I'm the one who becomes a problem within that community. And the fact that it is a community, if I become a problem, I destabilize everything. Now, in your experience, just looking at success in the way I just explained it, in your experience, is that a big problem in Botswana, especially when we look at our groups, our drama groups and everything?
It's a huge, huge problem. Do you get what I mean? People are lured by the control aspect, the power aspect. And that's why I use that point of understand your role and your responsibility.
Oh, yes.
And one of the things as a leader, that's actually the biggest servant is a leader. The leader is the biggest servant in a process.
Oh, yes.
One, you lead by example, right?
True.
Two, you have to sacrifice the most time and resources because you're the one who has to look out there and actually think, okay, where are we going to? Where are we heading to? How do I lead them? Having that vision, that concept, that idea, right? And then on top of that, you have to get everyone on board. So there's constantly that negotiation of how do you inspire people to be part of this big vision and this big idea. And every time there's an issue or an obstacle, you're the one they look to come up with solutions.
So if you're the problem, then nothing is actually being solved and you're creating more problems. Now, in that sense as well, still with what you have seen, with what you have experienced, what happens to groups that find themselves in this chaotic process? Do they break up or they seek mediation? Because again, being a leader, I get it, that's one of the things you have to do.
A lot of them, they break up. Like there's factions and whatnot, then they'll set up a new group. You'll always hear it. And not just more drama. Let's say they were part of this group, more pato. Right? And then they change by tirelo a bone go forma. And you see that happening. And for a small, environment like ours, so small that now if you split into factions, it's like, it's problematic in itself because now, we're not going to have growth and progression because everyone keeps starting anew. So that's one thing that really breaks people apart.
Yeah. And I like that you brought it there, Honor. As much as right here on the show, we always talk film and TV. We also talk about it knowing that, yes, this is a very small country, small communities, and every little thing that destabilizes the value chain, just it makes the final product Now, in your experience, having seen all of this and seeing all these factions and groups that have formed over time, how does that then affect the upcoming generation? Because at the end of the day, it's a value chain. New talent keeps coming in. Over time, how has this affected the growth of the theater space in Botswana?
For me, it becomes very toxic. And it creates a space here, an environment that's not conducive to growth, not conducive to being rooted in a space and taking time to really grow and become the best that you can become. So if you keep moving, what do? We end up having lots of, orphans. No one has a real home. And because of that, they end up being like, industry. And then you work with this person, I know one of the problems, because no one's stupid. Once you get into an environment, you can just see, and if the problem is leadership, and that leadership, or someone has shifted from one place to go set up somewhere else, do you get what I mean? And they're not changing. Kind of like you're avoiding the problem, so you keep moving away instead of sitting and dealing with the initial problem and what it is. And if everyone keeps moving, because they'll set up a new group, when they get there, because the only reference they have is of, no, I'm the leader, I'm the boss, I dictate this, and that. Then you'll see it'll manifest itself in that.
Yeah, because they take that one of them has to be the leader and not like a mentality.
Exactly, because one of them has to step up. And
sometimes without realizing that they have adopted that bad mentality to this one.
because there's also a bit of resentment there. There's a lot of other things that you carry with from a toxic environment.
So with your experience, let's say in the last 10 years, how has such affected, let's say, the space? Has it affected it in a bad way, like bad, or just bad manageable?
For me, it's bad manageable. Because at the end of the day, they do set up new groups, and then there's new passion and there's new blood that keeps coming. There's that excitement. But the problem, it's also caused stagnation. So we've not gone beyond a certain point. That's why I call it as bad manageable.
Okay.
What we need now is for a group, because there are one or two groups that have really stuck together and grown through the ranks, right? But even with that, again, I go back to roles and responsibility. So they're dealing more with the politics, but they don't realize other things that they're lacking. That yes, you've started a group, but you need to learn. You need to get training. There's a whole lot of other things for each role. And so you never really grow, but they remain there. And it's we stagnate. So we plateaued. There are one or two, because there's guys I've known who actually went out to Wits where I got training called Drama for Life. And there's a few who went there, right? And they've learned a few things. But even with them, they come back and try to do it better, right? And they've gotten growth, they've got training, and they try to share with everyone else. But again, they exist still within an ecosystem.
Yes.
And also the competition is another problem. When you're constantly competing, it's up and ego, and so there's still that idea where I'm the best, so I'm the boss, I'm the greatest,
and we're not learning anything from each other.
And you forget the humility, you forget the idea that leadership is servitude. And theater in itself, inherently, it's almost socialist. As much as there are roles and you have a leadership role, it doesn't work if we're not all together, and also doesn't work if we're not in an environment. Yes, the environment that is conducive to us to be a community that allows that openness of expression, and people start to really value what we do, instead of looking at the politics and the other power dynamics.
You know what? We're going to extend this by a few minutes still, because, again, we're talking theater. I just wanted to understand within theater what's happening, and also what constitutes you being able to have a successful group. So the most important thing here is that word community, which, now we're going to be taking a look at, that transition, because you also, as much as you started out on the theater on the stage in front of a crowd, you've also made it onto the screen. So I want to get an understanding in terms of transition from theater to TV. How have you seen that happening, and how your contributions, your experiences and all that? Do keep it locked. We are in conversation with a performance specialist, Tefo Paya. It's Gabs FM. It's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. Just wrapping up the conversation with Tefo Paya. And, we're just, if you're just joining in now, we're just taking a look at the different complications that we do see within the drama or theater space within Botswana. And one thing that, it's not unique to Botswana. These are problems that you get to see everywhere else. But I think in Botswana, you get to see it more because, there are not that many big groups. There are not that many people who get to survive longer within the space. So, but, it's the problems that, you see are not exclusive only to this country. They're exclusive in terms of now in a small setting that is us, So theater contributes to TV, film and TV, whether a person decides to be on TV ads, or decides to be on an actual soapy or drama, or just decides to go the movie route. It contributes. In Botswana, you find that because still that smallness contributes. You find that a person gets to be on TV as well as gets to be the one you see when movies are made, Now, with your experience, with all these problems that we have within the theater space, and let's not just say problems, there are also success stories, so that it's not all gloom and everything. You're one of the success stories. How has theater helped in terms of, or let me ask it this way. What do you do within the theater setting to prepare a person to be able to be in front of the screen? Because in front of the screen is different. We'll be in a room like this and all it is just cameras and a person who's saying action. In theater, there's a live audience. If I make a mistake, I can decide to just switch it up there and move on. You know, you the emotions, what you can judge. But with TV is something. So within the theater space, one thing that I understand is there, how do you help people transition to be able to be on TV?
First thing I do is just explain performance completely. And that's why I go back to the root or the core of it. It's like how saying all sports, but you still got to understand physical education. Understand the body, how it operates. And then you'll translate running, jumping, maneuvering, shifting, turning to rugby, to football, to tennis. So it's the same thing I do when it comes to acting and performance. I tell people, no, all performers, we have a voice and we have our body. That's the first thing we have. Those are our two tools. How do we use them? How do we improve them? So there's technical things you can do for your voice and your body, right? Any performer, all performers need it. Right now on radio is your voice more than anything, but your body still helps in breath and how to control it and so on. Same with TV. So all of that is the same. Characterization is the same. Storytelling. Radio, you're telling a story. All of that is the same. So once you understand those fundamentals and then you train and work, so that's how we prepare all of them. Then they need to understand the technical side of your platform.
Oh, yes.
So here you understand modulation. There's a microphone here. I don't need to project. I can get Momaiti song filled with 500 people. I'll project. I don't need a mic.
Oh, yes.
But right now I'm not pushing my voice to that extent. You get what I mean? Because I can modulate. I understand the platform that I'm working on. So when you get on screen, it's the same. You don't perform out when it comes to a screen because the camera comes to you. So that's a technical thing. So that's why you give them the fundamentals, the foundational stuff. And then afterwards, they understand the technical of your platform that you are performing on and what it needs. Same with musicians. They understand the way they are in studio versus the way they are out on stage.
On stage, yes.
Hey, then they'll be on TV at a show, you know. Again, all different. Multi-cam setup, single cam setup. Is it a close-up shot? Is it a wide shot? With stage, everyone is sitting in a different point. There's different sight lines. So you play with sight lines. So you got to open up to the audience. But you don't do that when it comes to screen.
Yeah.
You can just face each other. And then when it comes to screen, movies are shot over a long time. So the characterization in the movie is far deeper because you only have an hour and a half to tell the story. Yeah, and in a soap, in a series, yeah, you get your script, but you shoot a whole lot in a week.
And with the soapy, I guess you get to learn the character, just like how you do, let's say, now with the movie and now it's like, okay, look, we don't have that much time. You're only doing this character for 4 months. And with the soapy, maybe you have like 3 years playing the same character.
And you kind of start to influence. And there's multiple writers. So even the way it's written, there's different elements. So once you understand that, that's how you transition and shift. But again, it comes back to what I said earlier at the beginning. We're a community that comes together to create something. So when we work together, we understand why are we here for a common cause. We're here for a movie, a soapy, and so on. Everyone has a role, but everyone's got a role. What's your responsibility? And if you don't know any of this stuff, do your research. If you're lacking somewhere, get into training. If you still want to understand the depth of it, find a mentor.
Oh, yes.
You get what I mean? So you constantly got to be filling yourself, understanding your role and what's expected of you in that role and your responsibility. And which part do you play in the bigger picture?
So when you speak with your colleagues within the theater space, is it a thing that happens in like from, let's say, when you're just chatting with people who have different drama groups, theater plays and all, is it a thing that happens within other drama groups in terms of just helping actors transition to that space? Because yes, Botswana, very small, theater contributing a lot to TV. You find that a person is going to start with the drama, and gradually, because of money wise and everything, they'll realize, okay, kind of with drama plays, it's seasonal. Like where you work, you have a season where you do this, and there are other seasons for other plays. So they would want to be on TV because at least a paycheck is coming in, and they have to be ready for TV. Like you just explained. Is it a thing that you pick up it's happening within other drama groups in terms of this one, getting people prepared to know that, okay, now when it comes to TV or TV or what, you don't have to, express your eyes to a point where like they're about to pop up. You can just, the camera is there, just learn emotion. Is it a thing that you pick up what other drama groups are into?
What I find is you can only go as far as the people that you're with. It's almost like that thing, show me your friends and I'll know. So same with the community in the drama group, you get what I mean? So if it's a drama group of very young people and the leader's also young, and there's a limit in terms of the experience, but there's a lot of passion, they're going to be limited to the experience they have. But if you go to a group that's a lot more experienced, they've gone through their challenges, and because some leaders, they'll realize, maybe I was the problem. Then they'll try to learn and see. So you'll get lucky and be in a drama group that you have a director or someone who's leading you, or a lead actor, or one of the people who's more experienced has been in TV and film. Then you're able to go to them and talk to them and ask them, and then they can advise you when you do transition. So that's the other thing where the challenge comes in Botswana, that everything, because there's no formal, thorough, complete foundational training and development, people bring what they've had experience with. And that's all they bring. And because you work in isolation, if your group has got limited experiences, then you're always going to be held within that. That's why, again, you'll see the same sort of songs being sung or the same style of performance, because you'll actually find that, lack of a better word, it's almost like an incestuous, it's just been in the same pool, even though they've expanded to different groups and it's been over 10 years, but they're still doing the same methodology done. But Maloba, I said to my students when they're doing a warm-up, I looked at the warm-up and the exercise they're doing. I'm like, guys, I learned this when I was in Form 3. You're still doing the same vocal warm-up. And I know where it came from. Because there was a certain guy we all saw as our legend. We all do the same exercise, or we sing the same song, or we, the same style of acting, because that's what is believed is the acting. You get what I mean? So that's the danger that you have. So if you're lucky that you're in a group that actually has people who've been outside and have multiple experiences, then you will benefit, and they can prepare you for radio. They can prepare you for TV. They can prepare you for film or soap, because they've been there.
Love's Lounge.